harassment, the hate, none of that is okay. That goes for the opposing team we play, that goes for my teammates, that goes for my coaches. You know, there should never be a question of character. Like, I've always stood up here and said that, and that's truly what I believe. That's how I was raised. So, you know, none of that is okay, and I don't want anybody to ever experience that. Even I turned the TV on Sunday, and that game was on Wednesday, and that's all people are still talking about. And I feel like that's just a real disservice to our league. So much amazing talent, and there's so many amazing players that are playing at an incredibly high rate. I honestly felt bad for the players that were playing in the games those days, and also I felt bad for my teammates. They played on Friday, and they dominated, and they played really well, and nobody wanted to talk about that.
Why? Why is Caitlin Clark defending her attacker? Why is she subtly blasting her own fan base for coming to her defense? Yes, there are people who talk about Caitlin Clark because she is a mainstream topic of interest. I am one of them. That is the business we are in. The audience drives the topics. There is a reason no one is talking about AJ Wilson. There is a reason no one is talking about Paige Bueckers. I've tried. No one cares. But just because her fan base is passionate, just because Caitlin Clark fans might go too far in their defense of the Great White Hope, that does not mean the narrative is wrong. I know Caitlin Clark wants to be accepted. She wants to be appreciated by her colleagues, and she deserves to be appreciated and respected by her colleagues in the WNBA. But I hate to be the bearer of bad news. The vast majority of WNBA players, they are not going to like you. No amount of pandering, no amount of publicly defending them is going to make them like you. This dump of a league, they have a reputation of not liking straight white women. And that is a very important distinction. Straight white women. If you're Paige Bueckers, who took L's both on and off the court last season, you will be respected by pretend basketball players in the WNBA. But if you're Caitlin Clark, it ain't gonna happen. You don't have to take my word for it. Listen to Kelsey Plum. Watch for yourself.
I don't think it helps being a 5'8" white girl coming into the league with 85% black women that want to take your head off.
I have noticed this developing trend with Caitlin Clark. Jealous WNBA player attacks her on the court with a hard foul. The pretend analyst at ESPN like Shanae Agwumake or Monica McNutt or one of the other pretenders at the network, they defend the marginalized WNBA player, accuse Caitlin Clark fans of mythical racism. The jealous WNBA player, she tries to turn herself into the ultimate victim. These fans are so racist. They're being mean to me. This white guy on YouTube, he refers to us as pretend basketball players. It's so unfair. After about a week or so, with the story refusing to go away because there is literally nothing else to talk about in this dump of a league, Caitlin Clark addresses the media and she lectures her fan base on mythical racism and hate while defending her attacker. Now, in her defense, WNBA players aren't exactly liked, but there is a reason WNBA players are unlikable. It's not like people are just making this up, but the reason their behavior never changes is because WNBA players would rather blame everyone but themselves. Look, I don't want to speculate on the mindset of Caitlin Clark. Obviously, I do not know her personally. I know she was pissed off with The Athletic speculating that she was not having fun this season, mainly because they didn't ask her about it before publishing their article. But The Athletic is saying the same thing that Uncle KC has been saying all season. Something is off. something is different about Caitlin Clark. The young woman just wants to play basketball, and it's not like she's selfish. It's not like she wants the spotlight all to herself. As you heard in the clip, Caitlin Clark wants to share the spotlight. Problem is, she's the only interesting player in this league. And it's not because she's a dynamic basketball player, which she is. The reason Caitlin Clark is interesting is because she is hated by her jealous colleagues. You know, the media is one of the reasons that Michael Jordan abruptly retired from the NBA in the mid-90s. Obviously, his father's death had a lot to do with it, but the media also played a part. Maybe Caitlin Clark is having fun this season. I don't know. I don't think she is, but every time I watch her, every time I see her, she seems mentally exhausted. She seems mentally drained. She seems tired of dealing with the narratives, tired of dealing with the storylines. But without the narratives, without the storylines, there's nothing interesting about this league. This has always been the problem in the WNBA. The on-court product is not enough to sustain interest. The on-court product is not enough to keep people or even get people to watch. You need the drama. You need the storylines. But the problem is, that comes with a cost. How much more can Caitlin Clark handle? How much longer can she deal with it? Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys tomorrow.